It's the spoiled king. Better than Bobby Lee. Football. Wildcats. Football. Wildcats. Football. Wildcats. Football. Wildcats. Football. Wildcats. Football.
All right, Steve, here we are.
Week 13.
Week 13. Steve's a little grouchy this evening. We're trying to get him in the spirit of the podcast.
It's late.
Didn't think the kids were ever going to go to bed. Speaking of, I meant to make a note before we came up here.
Move Ernie the Elf?
Yes.
Is that what it is?
We're not off to the strongest start here.
2 out of 3 ain't bad. He's only spent the 2 days in a row in the same place once so far.
Yeah.
But we just put him on out in the first?
Yeah, I got
Today's the 4th.
I got to move this morning just in the nick of time. All right. Anyway, moving on. Week 13, first game on the card is Detroit at Chicago. Chicago is favored by 3, and that line has not changed a bit. Now I am going to take the, we just fired.
Nothing about the strong picks last week. I mean, we're like pretty much 3 out of the last 4 podcasts have been like 75% winners at least.
Well, I have to admit that I failed to go back and listen to last week's podcast.
I didn't write it down. I listened, but I didn't write.
I cannot give you exact numbers.
There's a lot of winners.
Now I do remember my picks from last week, but I will tell you that you were better than I was because I did have a few misses on Oakland. The Giants did not cover. Which did we? Do I owe you 20? I might owe you 20 bucks.
You owe me $20 on that. I was all over the Bengals because we went on the 3-game rant where the wrong team. Well, the team that's favored by too many points. Cleveland was one of them. They had Jacksonville,
Carolina.
Yeah, Carolina.
So we were on the right side of all
those. The Jive Turkey
those.
was the Giants. They were playing the Bengals.
We had Tennessee, right?
Tennessee. We were both all over Tennessee.
And I would like to point out that I was on the 49ers over the Rams.
I like the Rams.
And we both had the Buccaneers.
Yeah, there was 3.5, right? We said the hook was too much. They lost. They came back and lost by 3. So that's another winner.
So pretty good overall.
I had Philly until I found out Lane Johnson was out, and then I had a tantrum and switched it to Seattle.
And that was a bad beat, I guess.
If you had Seattle, it was a bad beat.
All right. So now that we've covered that, let's move on to
our Detroit, Chicago. So this is my feeling on the game. This is really the only thing I'm looking at is that we've seen a couple of examples of coaches getting fired, and then the team comes back to next week, and it's like they're liberated and they play well. And we've seen it in Atlanta, right? We saw it in Houston. You continue to see it in Houston as if the dictator's gone. And now everybody's playing with a bunch of freedom, per se. But point here is Matt Patricia just got fired after the Thanksgiving debacle. He is a temperamental personality like a Belichick. He comes from that tree. And I think that once they leave him, Darrell Bevell, who's a long-term offensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings and also with Seattle through Russell Wilson's rise to acclaim. So he's been at Detroit as the offensive coordinator, I think, since 2017 or 2018. Anyway, the team likes him. It's a similar situation to Houston. Actually, it's very similar because Bill O'Brien was from the Belichick coaching tree as well. So that authoritative personality's gone. The loose coach, get them playing well. Take the points, 2 bad teams. No Nick Foles. As much as I don't like Detroit, I like Detroit here in this spot.
Now Detroit will be without Galladay again. The running back, DeAndre Swift, is questionable. Allen Robinson left practice with a knee injury today. But I will note that the Bears have won the last 4 games, including a matchup in week 1 of this season. But I'm with you, Steve. They hate it, Matt Patricia. They're glad to see him gone. They're going to show up for this game. And it's not like the Bears have looked great the last few weeks. So we'll take the
Mitchell
points.
Trubisky.
And we'll go with Detroit. Next game on the card is Cincinnati at Miami. This is Miami is favored by 10.5. And I don't know if we know for sure who the quarterback's going to be. Tua is questionable. So
it's the same injury as last week that caused them to miss.
Yeah.
The Jets game, Fitzpatrick.
Seems like a lot of people are suggesting it'll be Fitzpatrick, but I'm not sure that it's a lock. I definitely like it better if it's Fitzpatrick. But that's a big line.
So that reminds me, a huge play on Miami last week. If Fitz was the quarterback, is what we talked about. I think this is a similar situation where Cincinnati's coming into Miami. I don't know that it really matters who the quarterback is in deciding who to take in this game, but I love it a lot more if Fitz is the quarterback. And especially after he just kind of got the rust off the first half last week against New York since sitting out a couple weeks. Tua's not practiced, so he's gotten all the first team reps. I like Miami here. I think at 10.5 and 11 points in some places, it's a high number. I'm not in love with that. And, Cincinnati was in a similar situation at home last week, getting points where I thought it was too much. Here, I'm leaning towards Miami. I think the defense is strong enough they can get him Allen into a couple turnovers, put some points up on the board that way. So even if Tua is the quarterback and is not moving the offense as fluidly as Fitz does, I think 17 points somewhere around there. I like Miami.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I could take him at 10.5.
Yeah, I'm not in love with it because it's a lot of points. It's almost like they're, how high can we put this to see if people keep taking Miami?
I feel like this is a good week for a teaser because I feel like there's a lot of these games that I say that's a lot of points.
The Delaware Park teaser card.
So, all right, moving on to the next game. Next game is Indianapolis at Houston. Now, Houston has Will Fuller suspended essentially for the rest of the season for performance-enhancing drugs. Do you call them drugs?
Steroids is what I call them.
And they also cut Kenny Stills prior to that. So they're down to Brandon Cooks and Kiki QT.
Say that again.
No.
Kiki.
So I guess maybe the tight ends will come into play a little more. So Indy lost last week in a big game to the Titans. So they're now in second place in the division. So they definitely could use the win here. Is this a division matchup?
It is.
Okay.
They haven't played yet this year. There's a lot of teams in the division that are coming up on their first game this week. They play them twice in the last month. So it's schedule makers a little strange that way. But this is one of those where they have not matched up yet, but they're going to play each other twice.
So I think I like Indy. I don't know if I like them by 3.5 or 3. It could be a close game. What are your thoughts?
This is a tough one for me because I really like Houston. I've liked them all year, even though they're not really that good. But for me, I'm going to stick with Indy here. We had them. I feel like we have a good grasp on Indy. We knew we were going to lose last week. We both had Tennessee pretty strong. And some of that had to do with DeForest Buckner not being there. He's stabilized that defensive line and is really the focal point of what keeps that defense together and playing well. DeForest Buckner is back this week. He's off the COVID list as of today. They're also going to get Jonathan Taylor back, who was missing last week because he was also COVID impacted. He came off the list earlier this week. So really, I'm looking at Indy to get back on the horse here. We talked a couple of weeks ago on the podcast how we thought Indy and Tennessee, we knew they had a matchup coming up, but that they were going to trade blows and really both rip off some wins towards the end of the season. I think we are starting to get into that place where we're going to go heavy Indy, heavy Tennessee. At least I know I am. And I think here, even though Houston scares me a little bit, it's a huge impact that Will Fuller's not there. Your Brandon Cooks is like a rag doll. He'll get hurt at some point. So when he goes, who do they have to throw the ball to? Absolutely nobody. So at any point, that guy could go down. I think you stick with Indy here, get him back on the horse. I'm not in love with the way Phillip Rivers is playing, but even at 3 points, I think this might be a statement game for Indy, a little get-right game.
All right.
You like Indy?
Like I said, I like them, but
You
I
don't
could
like the
see
points?
it being a close game. I definitely don't like it at 3.5 with the hook on there, but I would consider 3. But again, a good game for a teaser. All right. Next game is Jacksonville at Minnesota. So opened at -9 in favor of Minnesota. It's now at -10. The over-under has gone up a couple points. Jacksonville will have Mike Glennon. And I just think it's a lot of points again. So I'm going to probably take the same approach I took last week.
Take the points?
Yeah, I mean, neither team has a great defense. Neither team gets a lot of pressure on the quarterback. So I could see it. I could see both teams putting up some points. So that's just a lot of points. And I'm not sure if we know what's up with Dalvin Cook because he did not have the monster game that expected last week in Carolina. He had a fumble and then he left the game for a while. And there was some talk about kind of lightening his load for the rest of the season. And I guess this is probably.
Why would you say that if you're trying to fight to get into playoffs unless they're already taking themselves out? What are they, 5-6? Yeah, 5-6.
Well, I mean, I guess hoping you make it and having them when you do. I don't know.
Well, you have no. Is Thielen back?
Thielen is back.
Okay, so that's big for them. So that's a big difference maker because now you have him and Justin Jefferson. I'll tell you, for me, I'm not really crazy about this game at all. I don't like a lot of the points here. Minnesota's kind of Jekyll and Hyde team. I could see Jacksonville keeping this close. I could also see it being 44-3 Minnesota. So I mean, I really don't have a pick here. I'm not scared. I have not been scared to take Jacksonville, even though they only have 1 win this season. They're 1-10. Taking the points with them. It's not. I don't feel that strong on this game.
Okay. So next game up is Las Vegas at the New York Jets. And I don't know what to do with this game because Las Vegas is the team that you just can't predict. I mean, they put up a fight. They beat the Chiefs. They put up a fight against the Chiefs. And then they go down to Atlanta and they just hand them the ball over and over and over again. So I don't know what they're going to do at the Jets. It could be a similar game to last week. They're traveling again to the East Coast for a 1:00 game. And I mean, it could go either way. They could show up this week because they didn't show up last week, or they could not show up again this week. So I think they probably win, but 8.5 points is a lot of points. Your thoughts?
I think anything under 10, you bet Vegas and you feel confident about it. The Jets suck, right? This is what I'm looking at Vegas. I'm saying that they played Kansas City 2 weeks ago, right? They had beaten them, talked a lot of trash, circled their stadium the first time they beat them. So they come back and they lose to Kansas City. They're very disappointed in that game, and the letdown game comes after that. They kind of checked out. So that was last week against Atlanta. All right. I feel like this is the get-right game. They come back, get their shit together, they roll.
Well, let me ask you this, because aren't you of the mindset that the Jets have to win a game somewhere?
Yeah, it's not here.
Well, if you look at the rest of their schedule, I don't know where it is. I guess that's part of what worries me. So
that's interesting. You want to take a look at that a little bit, or do you want to move on?
No, go ahead, because I can't remember off the top of my head what the games were.
I'm kind of interested in that now. So they have Vegas, then they're going on the road to Seattle, and then the Rams.
Not going to win that game.
Oh, there's your baby.
Yeah.
Second to last week of the season, they host the Cleveland Browns. Now, what if the they're 8-3, I think. So they're definitely, that's 1, 2, 3 games away. So even if they go 8-6, let's say they lose their next 3 games, they're probably going to be in a playoff mode. So you're talking about pressure for Cleveland, trying to get in the playoffs. Baker Mayfield, that's your Jets win for me. Just looking at it right now. Then they got New England to end the season. They're not beating New England. You never know, though. That's at New England. Now they're not going up to New England. It's Cleveland. So I'm taking Vegas. Vegas this week.
All right.
Jets
I mean,
suck.
they're clearly the better team, but I just don't know if you could trust them.
I love the way you think, though. I love the way you brought that up because that's definitely like my mindset.
Did you turn that off? Something's talking.
Maybe it's my computer.
Okay.
Somebody was talking over under.
All right.
Raiders, get right.
All right. I'll go with you. So next game up is New Orleans at Atlanta. This opened at -3.5 in favor of New Orleans. It's -3 in most spots now. And we just saw this matchup a couple weeks ago in New Orleans. It was the first start for Taysom Hill. And the Saints defense really smothered the Falcons in that game. They had a couple field goals. Julio Jones is questionable. He was DNP, did not participate in practice today. So it's trending towards he's not going to play. I believe he did play the last game, but I'm not positive about that.
I don't think he did.
So,
Julio?
When they played the last time?
The last game they played. I think last
Between
week.
the Saints. Oh, he didn't play last week. Yeah. So I kind of
he
think
did play.
it's going to be a similar script. I think as long as the Saints defense shows up, the Saints should take it.
We took the Falcons that week.
I did not take the Falcons.
I did. I like the Falcons.
I can tell you that.
I don't like this game. I don't know what the hell to think of these
All right,
guys.
so he did play that game, but he had 2 targets, 2 receptions. So I think that was the game where he left.
Yeah. So here's the thing that first think about, because this has been bothering me. I mean, last year you had Teddy Bridgewater. This year you got Taysom Hill.
It's Taysom.
The $10 million backup, right? And they don't lose with these guys. I mean, they haven't lost
yet. Well, it's coaching and it's defense. I mean, the defense stepped up in those games last year. They stepped up in last week's game. I don't know you had to do much, but
Bridgewater was 5-0 last year as the backup quarterback for New Orleans. Taysom's now what, 3-0?
Well, has he played that many games? This game was.
I think so. They had Chicago. They had last week.
Week
and
11.
They played Atlanta.
11, 12.
Oh, it was just 11 and 12?
12.
All right. So,
I mean, he really has one win. Can you count last week? I mean, the freaking team didn't have a quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to get burned again, but I'm almost looking at this like home dog, right? Atlanta's a home dog. They're getting 3 points. These divisions, the division rivals, like the decent rivalry matchups are usually split during the year.
Yeah, I don't see it.
I'm not going against New Orleans, and they just that burned me too many times going against them. It's like I can't figure them out. So if I was taking it, my mind's like kind of saying Atlanta because of all those weapons. But I think you got to go New Orleans. You're right; they're just kind of in the groove. But I want to take Atlanta so bad here. It's not a pick for me.
So they did split last year when they played.
I like too many other games to fool around here, personally. What do you have a pick now?
I got to take the Saints there.
All
right. Next game up is Cleveland at Tennessee. This opened Tennessee -3.5. It's now up to -5.5.
Can I just say I'm disappointed that Jameis Winston's not playing? Like, I just like watching that guy. Because whatever you're going to get, you're either going to get like home runs and deep passes or laughable interceptions.
But what does that say that, I guess I shouldn't even ask that question because Sean Payton obviously loves Taysom Hill. But, I mean, he had more faith in Taysom Hill than he did in Jameis Winston. I don't know why they signed Jameis Winston in that case because there's certainly other teams out there that could use him.
Well, you only signed him for $1 million, right? So it's like, hey, we got another quarterback, right? Just in case. I mean, you've said that in the past. Like, I don't know why they would sign him and not start him. Like in the beginning when they were talking Taysom Hill, and we went on and on about how he's making $10 million, right?
But that's because according to Sean Payton, that's his guy. Like when Drew Brees is done, it's going to be Taysom Hill.
Well, you got to think about what future plans are, right?
So if you're Sean Payton, though, and that's your plan, then you don't need Jameis Winston.
No, you need him because you need a third quarterback. And his philosophy is you need a third quarterback. And because Taysom's in that flex role where, he's going to be taking some hits and getting action while Drew Brees is playing, plus Drew Brees is like 58 years old. You know, it makes perfect sense. You need a third guy in there. It could have been anybody.
But I do think to an extent
Andy Dalton.
It speaks to the fact that Sean Payton didn't have faith that Jameis could play his offense.
Oh no, I'm saying
was gonna,
as a coach and looking for your future, you play Taysom Hill. I personally, Steve, the fan, want to watch Jameis Winston. I'm hooked on that guy. He's entertaining. Anyway, let's get off that game.
He's great for fantasy. At least he was.
All right, Cleveland, Tennessee. Cleveland's coming into Tennessee. They are a 3.5 point dog to open. It's been bet up to 5.5 already. So the Tennessee line's going up. It's probably going to keep going. I just don't like Cleveland. I'm worried a little bit about a letdown. You know, could it be a 3-point Tennessee win and the line's too high? That's a possibility, but because I don't like Tennessee in a big favorite role. They're a good underdog. They're a good small favorite, right? You start getting up to a touchdown if this thing gets bet up. But Cleveland's one of my all-time I hate them teams.
Well, something I do worry about. John O. Smith has already been ruled out. A.J. Brown was DNP at practice. So I feel like if both of those guys are out, that works against them.
Definitely.
Because that
Why
really
is A.J.
leaves...
Brown? Is he injured or is it like a COVID thing? Are you sure? I'm sorry,
not sure.
I'm put you on the spot, but that's big news because that's their tight end, right? And their best wide receiver. You saw him go off last week, A.J. Brown. He's
and I kind of feel like it was
touchdowns.
something at practice maybe. But I'm not sure. I'm not 100% on that. So obviously, I mean, that leaves like Corey Davis and, you know, a couple of slot guys. And Ferkser and whoever that other guy was last week, they were throwing the ball to, the tight end. So, but I mean, I think that collapses the field onto Derrick Henry. Because, I mean, both these teams want to run the ball. I think both teams can run the ball on the opposing team. But it might make it more difficult for Tennessee if all those guys are out.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go with Tennessee regardless because they're, them and Indy, you're going to be fighting it out down to the wire. I'm going to go Tennessee regardless if those guys play or not. Because Derrick Henry's still playing, right?
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
So, all right. Next game is the New York Giants at Seattle. Now, last week, Daniel Jones got injured. So we have Colt McCoy. He's doubtful this week, Jones. So most likely Colt McCoy will be getting the start. The line opened at 7.5 points in favor of Seattle. It's up to 11. That's a lot of points, but
the return of the 5 suspension man, Josh Gordon, who was signed by Seattle in the beginning of the season for $1 million, has been reinstated by the NFL.
That's like the story of every year. And I was like, had like FOMO when it came to Josh Gordon. I was not going to miss that monster game. I watched highlight tape on him and I was like, this guy's a beast. It's going to happen. He's going to have the 200-yard, 2-touchdown game, and this girl ain't missing it. I put him in so many lineups. I've had him in my season-long leagues.
Josh Gordon.
I officially gave up last year.
So we're in a fantasy league.
So play him this week because he'll go off.
We're in a mixed league, men and women, some couples, some just friends. But we're in a league together, and I picked up Josh Gordon in that league just because I thought you were going to pick him up because he's your guy. I just wanted to be like, I'm
done with Josh Gordon. And I don't even think Seattle doesn't even need him at this point now that they have Metcalf. So,
well, what's his deal? I don't even know. Has he been practicing leading up to this? Is this step one for him to get right for next week? You know,
well, I don't even know. Is he eligible to play this week because of the COVID stuff? Might not be till next week.
Well, I will tell you.
But regardless, he's irrelevant. Well, I mean, it's a shame, but
I think you got to say he's irrelevant for this game, right? Even if he plays. But I'm just dreaming of a DJ Metcalf, right? Tyler Lockett and Josh Gordon if he plays well, because we know what Josh Gordon can do, but he did it all that a long time ago. So anyway, we'll move on from Josh Gordon because I agree. It doesn't really impact this game.
Do you have a take on this game, a pick on this game? Do you think 11 points is too many?
No, not with Colt McCoy.
Was Colt McCoy an Eagle?
No, he was a Redskin.
Okay.
I'm sorry. He was a Washington football team.
Oh, you did it. I don't think we've done that at all.
I think it was the first time all year I called them the Redskins.
Now, I might have called the Raiders. I probably called the Raiders Oakland a couple times. But
I always call the Chargers San Diego.
I used to, but I think I've gotten there. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe I would like it at 10. But again, it's a good game for a teaser because I definitely think Seattle wins.
Yeah, I would tease this, but it's not really a play for me. I mean, I don't have a really strong feel.
See the Giants putting up too many points, especially traveling across the country. But just 11 scares me.
11 points for an NFL game is a lot of points where the domination is not as clear here. I mean, Seattle's definitely a better team.
It's not even so much I worry about the Seattle scoring the points. I just worry about the garbage time production coming back into the game type thing. So
you could be up 28-10, right? And then boom.
Go into a prevent defense and let them move the ball down the field.
Colt McCoy. Damn it, Colt.
All right.
Yeah, I'm just not touching it.
So next game is the Los Angeles Rams at Arizona. This opened in favor of Arizona -1, and it's shifted to -3 in favor of the Rams. And I don't really understand that line movement. But this is a division game. They both lost last week. The Rams are at 7-4, Cardinals at 6-5. So I don't know if this is a reaction to Kyler Murray last week. I don't know.
That's what it feels like to me. I think we've seen a lot of examples here where
because the Rams lost last week to San Fran, and they were a favorite.
I remember how I've had so many times this season where I look at a game and I see the line change and it doesn't make sense to me. So
what does that mean from a betting perspective?
Well,
what side does that push you to?
The reason why that's moving is because the money's coming on one side, right? So in this example,
right,
Arizona's opens as a 1-point favorite. It's now flipped to the Rams favorite by 3. So money's coming in on the Rams. The only other thing that would be an injury. I don't see an injury here. So to me, when I try to think, let's say if you can analyze it and say, was there an injury or a change to the event? Or is it just the public betting one side?
Well, I mean, I guess it could be concern about Kyler Murray and his shoulder.
Yeah, that could be the concern. But let's eliminate one of those two. Which is it? Is it an injury, weather kind of thing? Or is it really the public's, they could be betting it up because of the shoulder, but there's not a dramatic impact. Not like he's missing. He's going to play in this game. So in other words, my point is the line shift, what I'm equating it to is really kind of what you alluded to. What happened immediately last week? It's not really impactful of what the team is or what they've done during the year. It's like a quick rush to, they just lost to the Patriots. So let's all go on the Rams.
Maybe that's what it is because Patriots suck and they lost to them. I don't know.
And maybe they're thinking the Rams are going to bounce back. They're not going to lose 2 in a row. In my opinion here, I like Arizona. I don't like the line change. I'm going to take them 3 points at home. I think the Rams I know they just lost to San Francisco, but I think they're going to lose again here. And with Arizona coming off that tough loss last week against New England on the road, I think they come back and this is like one of those maybe tight games. Arizona, who are they really going to blow out? But they find a way to pull it out in the end and win the game. I'll take the 3 points as well.
Yeah, so I mean that worked, I guess, too, because I would be on Arizona regardless. So that works to our advantage there.
Yeah, take it. We got a natural tease. Let's move to 4 points. All right, Zona.
Yep. All right. Next game is Philadelphia at Green Bay. And I'm going to say the same thing I said last week when we talked about the Eagles game. Aaron Rodgers leads the league in touchdowns and Carson Wentz leads the league in interceptions. And that is true because Aaron Rodgers threw more touchdowns last week to overtake Russell Wilson. Just for the record.
Yeah, you sound like a broken record. Just trying to rub this damn Wentz struggling thing in.
I know. I was like, I wonder if. And sure enough. So, okay. Honestly, I probably think this line should be higher. So I'm taking Green Bay, and I don't know if there's much else to say.
All right, I'm not going to say a lot here.
Oh, and remember, because Lane Johnson is out for the season.
Here's my problem. I look at this game, and I think everybody's going to look at this game and say Green Bay's going to smoke them, just like you did. I'm an Eagles fan. I don't see how they win this damn game. But I'm going to tell you something. There's something about Green Bay. When they go to Green Bay, like last year, like week 3, Green Bay was undefeated, firing on all cylinders, and Wentz took them up there and won the game.
Wentz took them up there. Wentz ain't taking them nowhere this year.
I'm not going to sit here and pound my chest on Wentz. They have struggled. This line it started at 6.5. And I think that's the right line inside a touchdown. We're now at 8.5, 9.5 in one place I see. We could be up to 10 by kickoff. I think there's anything over 7's too much here. I'm taking Eagles.
Okay, interesting.
I'm not taking it like I love it, but it's just too many points.
That's a lot of points. I mean, they could backdoor cover like they did last week, but
I'll tell you something. We're going to find out a lot about the Eagles this week. Everybody's fighting for their job.
Like I said last week or the week before, like I've been waiting for that game where they finally and it just hasn't happened. And I don't think it's going to. And I don't think this is a good week for it.
All right, so I'm going to paint a little bit more of a picture here. There is a path to victory for Philadelphia, and it's through the running back, Miles Sanders. But I just don't trust that Doug is going to do it and call plays that are going to... I almost want Deuce Staley to take over because Deuce is a running back. You know Deuce is going to run the ball.
Well, I saw something on...
He's got to get in Doug's face and make him run the ball.
I saw something on the news, like, will Doug Peterson give up play calling duties? So if he does...
Who's he going to give it to?
Well, if he does, who do they go to?
I don't know. I mean, because Deuce has never called plays.
No. So, I mean, I guess that's the point is you can run all over Green Bay. So if they were going to take that approach, that would be their path to victory. But I think the problem for me in that scenario is what happens when Aaron Rodgers goes out and on his first 2 drives, he throws 2 touchdowns and you guys don't put up any points. Then you're going to abandon that game plan regardless.
Let's be clear. The only other person that's going to call plays is the offense coordinator, but I don't think that he has any experience calling plays either. So Doug's not going to give up the play calls. And from what I'm hearing, it doesn't really matter who's calling the plays because coach-wise, because it sounds like Carson's making a lot of calls himself. So anyway, I'm going to begrudgingly take Philly.
Okay. And a great game for the teaser because, I mean, do you think that Philly wins the game or do you just think that that's a lot of points?
No comment.
Okay. All right. So the next game up, and this is probably the most interesting game to me, is New England going to LA to play the Chargers. So I think that the Chargers they have more talent on their roster. They have the better quarterback. They have better wide receivers. But it is a definite mismatch when it comes to coaching. Mm-hmm. And Bill Belichick also has a pretty stellar record against rookie quarterbacks. The Patriots have not lost a game to a rookie quarterback in the last 7 seasons. And overall, his record is 20-5. So it's hard for me because I think clearly the better team is the Chargers. But I think that when it comes down to it, I mean, and I can't see Anthony Lynn versus Bill Belichick. It's just a total mismatch there. So I don't think that the Patriots look great, but I think that Bill Belichick will have a plan and I hope that they can pull it out. So I'm taking the Patriots.
Beautiful. I think you just talked me into the Patriots.
So, I mean, great. I don't necessarily feel good about it, but.
I like the angle of Belichick here against a young quarterback who's unproven. It's going to cause confusion.
Yeah. And he'll probably put Gilmore on Keenan Allen, who's been the kind of number 1 target there, probably the best receiver in the group. So, and I guess I don't see, I guess what worries me maybe a little bit is if the Chargers are able to go out and put some points on the board, I don't think that New England is the type of team that can catch up to them. So that kind of worries me. But again, good game for a teaser. So next game up on the list is Denver traveling to Kansas City. I assume that Denver will have a quarterback this week. These teams played in week 7 in Denver, and Kansas City won 43-16. The line opened at -13. It is -13.5. And it is a lot of points. Steve, your thoughts?
It's a lot of points. But I don't really have a strong feel in this game.
Okay.
I would take Kansas City just because, their quarterback situation, they're all coming off this COVID list. Not a big, strong play, but Kansas City.
Yeah. All right. I like Kansas City too. But that's a big number. So
Judy's still
add it to your teaser card.
Yeah, Judy's still injured. You don't know if he's playing. Drew Lock is definitely playing.
Okay. And then, all right, so let's see. Next game is Buffalo traveling to San Francisco.
All right, so real quick, let's just talk about these next couple of games from a scheduling perspective. This is where it starts to get the post-Sunday game. So we have the regular Monday night game. We're also going to have Pittsburgh and Washington play a Monday night game before this Buffalo-San Fran game, which is the regular 8:15 game. And then the next day, you're going to have, they push Baltimore back, who's matched up against Dallas at 8:05. So those are the 3 games left.
Wait a minute.
Okay, so
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Buffalo, San Francisco. Let me take over here because I like this game a lot. It's a Monday night game. All right, the line opened up with Buffalo favored is 2.5. Public's betting San Fran, and it's down there -1. It's pick 'em. There's a pick 'em in a couple places, -1 in a couple places. So it's trending definitely away from Buffalo, and as San Fran is the favorite. I don't know if
so now this was a reaction to them winning against the Rams.
Exactly. I was getting ready to say that. This is like we were just early talking, like what is going on with this line? It's changing.
But that makes sense.
Buffalo's a better team.
Yeah.
Maybe you can argue this with San Francisco if like Garoppolo's been the quarterback and he's showing like he's consistent and coming back, but this is Nate Mullins or Nick Mullins. Like Nick, whatever the hell. Nick Mullins, you put a defense on him. Now, they kind of, they did well last week because they hit a lot of fast ones. Well, they hit a lot of good play calls.
I think that's a coaching,
Yeah. Well, Buffalo's, so now it's on tape. Buffalo's got a good defense. They have a good defensive head coach.
Yeah. So I think, but to me, this just works to our advantage. If you're on Buffalo, you get.
You like Buffalo then?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Buffalo. So let me talk a little bit about some bad things about Buffalo on Monday night, because I don't know if you know historically how piss poor they've been on Monday night.
Well, what's historically though?
Historically is since the inception of the Buffalo Bills, they've been 6-23.
But that means nothing.
All right.
If you give me numbers on Josh
they've
Allen,
lost their last 9 Monday night football games. Their last 9.
Okay, but again, that means nothing because how long has McDermott been the coach and how long has Allen been the quarterback? That's all I care about.
Been there for a couple of years. Well, so they're historically bad, right? Plus, you got to remember that Buffalo, the last time, so San Fran's not playing in San Fran, right? Because the liberals have shut the freaking state down and they're not allowing a football game to go on with no fans. So anyway, my point is they're going to Arizona, right? Where they're returning after they just got beat on a last-second Hail Mary by the Cardinals. So even though they're not playing the same team here, they're going to the same place. It's the same field. It's almost just as bad because mentally they're going to remember when they walk on that field. But this Buffalo team, in my opinion, is going to – it's like they can't wait to get back there to redeem themselves. I think even though these stats that I'm talking about, they're historically bad, I think an idiot would sit here and tell you these stats, like to your point, because it's historical. Like Josh Allen hasn't always been the quarterback, so you can't blame him for Jim Kelly's loss.
Yeah, that doesn't mean shit.
People that don't know what the hell they're talking about are going to sit here and give you these stats and say, go on San Fran because these guys don't win on Monday night. I'm telling you, it's going to be like the code breaker was being beat by that Hail Mary. And they come back into that stadium and they're going to get pissed off and they're going to take it out on San Fran. And Nick Mullins, who, when they put pressure on, he's going to turn the ball over more than Carson Wentz. That's a lot. I'm taking Buffalo. It's one of my strongest picks. I see them getting off the schneid here and breaking the Monday night jinx. Buffalo, big.
All right, Steve, I'll let you carry the torch on this next one here. If you want to show off your shirt.
All right, so I don't know if anybody has realized, but I just want to prove that how we take this podcast differently. And even though we talk Homer stuff with the Eagles, and I hate everybody in the division, I'm going to show you that this is all about winners. This is all about picking winners, and that's the most important thing. We'll joke around and talk bad about the Giants and the Cowboys, but, you know, we're going to like them. We're going to take them. We're not just going to say don't take them because, you know, they're the Eagles' rivals. So I got the Washington football team shirt. I am on board. 3 weeks ago, and I don't know if I talked about this on prior podcasts, but about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I put a bet in on them to win the division. Everybody was talking to Giants. They're still talking to Giants, right? The Eagles are there, but nobody cares about the Eagles. I'm showing my support vocally now for the Washington football team. And
they don't even have a name, and you're supporting them.
Listen, I've had some conversations recently with some people that it seems like the team name is really being embraced, their lack thereof, by the Washington fans. And I wouldn't be surprised if they keep the team name the Washington football team. It's kind of like got Key and I were talking about it. It's kind of got like a soccer team feel.
Well, it's a shame. Well, it's a shame the letters aren't different because it's WFT, but it could be WTF.
Yeah, but everybody says WFT. But here's the thing: you say WFT, and everybody immediately thinks WTF. So it all kind of plays in. I like Washington, and
I just want to say something before you continue on this. This whole T-shirt thing all started because I bought the Tannehill Henry shirt, and now he has to up me. This is what, your third T-shirt?
What? This is my second T-shirt. This and the Jive Turkey.
Okay. I feel like there was one more before that.
There's one more coming next week that came today. Was there another shirt?
I feel like there was. We'll have to go back and watch prior podcasts.
No, I'm on board with the Washington football team. And the reason why I'm wearing this shirt is because this is the week that the undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers take their first loss. I'm not even telling you to take the points.
Stop doing that. You're messing up the audio.
I'm telling you outright.
Well, that's a bold statement, Steve, because I might be with you on take the Redskins in this matchup, but I don't think that they necessarily win the game. But I think
line. Take
it's
the
a lot
line,
of
take
points.
the money line. Bet it both. I like 7. I like 7. I'll take it. Alex Smith, lock for comeback player of the year. Unless Gronkowski catches 2 touchdowns each remaining game. To me, it's just Gronk and Alex Smith. But how can you not love the story of Alex Smith? I mean, absolutely shattered his leg.
It's a great story.
He might not live, let alone walk again. Guy's back, quarterbacking in the National Football League and winning football games, and he's only going to get better. Still can't throw the deep ball. But you got McLaren. You throw the ball 5 yards, you let him run the other 90.
Well, I mean, I guess that would be what worries me is you can't really run on Pittsburgh. I think they need that run game to support the Alex Smith at quarterback thing. So if it wasn't for the fact that Pittsburgh's been all turned around with this COVID thing. They're the ones that keep getting the short end of the stick on the COVID.
Look, they did not. That offense did not look good against Baltimore. They could have put them on the ropes.
They're playing on a Wednesday night. Now they got games.
This is my major point. They're all whacked now, right?
Well, they are. They
played Wednesday. Now they're going to come back and play Monday.
They have 3 games. Short week. They have 3 games in 11 days, and the game next week is against the Bills.
Yeah, and that's important for seeding.
So this could be a perfect letdown spot for them.
Absolutely. You're going out of conference.
I mean, I would love this if it was in Washington, but it is in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So
listen, that defense, they're going to come in tired. There's a short week, and that Washington defensive line is no joke. They're going to put all kinds of pressure on Big Ben. And I'm telling you, Pittsburgh's going to lose a game. I think this is going to be it. But I'm telling you, bet the hell out of it with the 7 points. Hail to the Washington football team.
I'm going to take the points there. All right. So, and then
I'm this close to officially being off board the Eagles this year.
Last game is going to be Tuesday. Is that
Tuesday
right?
night, 8
Tuesday
o'clock.
at 8. Dallas coming to Baltimore. And so to me, as long as Lamar Jackson plays, is an easy pick.
You think he would definitely play, right?
I would believe
COVID?
so. Yeah. Now, I don't know if he had it or if we see it close contact. I'm not really sure because it started with the running backs, right?
It's hard enough. It's very hard to keep tabs on everybody's COVID situation. Is it contact tracing? Did they have a positive test?
Well, it's so weird though, because there hasn't been a lot of talk about it this week, but it was, I don't know. So anyway, you're going to have Andy.
So he probably caught COVID. Like, is when they're not talking about these guys?
No, I'm not. I'm saying this whole week, there's no talk of like other teams coming down with COVID. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. So this game, we have Andy Dalton, prime time. We talked about that a few weeks ago. Against a team that can bring a lot of pressure.
What did we talk about? That he sucks on primetime?
Yeah.
I was just making sure.
And whatever his record was then, you can add one more to the loss column because they did lose that game. So
he's looked good though.
Yeah, but against who? You know? I mean, Baltimore is a team that blitzes a lot. They get a lot of pressure on the quarterback, and that's not going to be favorable to Dalton. They've also, the Cowboys got run all over on Thanksgiving. 3 touchdowns from Antonio. Is that his name? Antonio Gibson.
Yeah.
So I think that's a safe pick on Baltimore, assuming they have Lamar and maybe one of their running backs at least.
Well, we talked last week about the 3 teams and the playoff impact in the AFC, right? It was Las Vegas, it was Miami, and the third team was Baltimore.
Baltimore's got to be desperate at this point.
So Miami won, and Oakland and Baltimore lost. So they need to keep pace with Miami, who probably has a win this week, right? Playing against Cincinnati. So I look to both of these teams to win pretty convincingly. Baltimore needs to step up. We'll see how high this line gets. It's Friday night, so we're Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We're 4 days away. That line could move seriously.
But you think it will?
Double digits.
You probably have a lot of the public looking at Dallas. Andy Dalton is back. They look better.
So you're a good point.
And Baltimore's look like crap.
Well, you know what? This is my point to what you were just saying. You haven't heard a lot yet because the game's not till Tuesday. So I think as we get closer to the game and more information comes out about Lamar, and if it all points to he's practicing well, he looks good in practice, doesn't seem to be an impact, I think that's when the line shoots up. That's where it could shoot up. That could be like Sunday or Monday. Yeah, I think he's going to be fine. So they need to win. They're 6-5. Like we said, Oakland is 6-5. They lost last week. Miami's 1 game ahead at 7-4. So there's only one spot for one of those 3 teams.
Yeah, gotta have it. All right. Any recap would you like to do? Any of your best plays? Well, we know. I don't have to ask. Your shirt says it all.
The Washington football team. I like Buffalo. I really like Buffalo. Watch out for Philly. It's too many points. Zona is a good spot against the Rams. Tennessee and Indy now probably be a trend for the rest of the season. Miami, if Fitz plays, like it big. Otherwise, it's scary, but I think it's still a play. Detroit, you got the revenge factor or the actual Matt Patricia firing and the team rallying around the offensive coordinator and interim coach. Kind of like Vegas as a get right game against the Jets. I know you thought it was too many points. Looking down the list, I don't think I missed anything.
All right. I'm with you on most of that. So that'll do it for us for week 13.
Listen, we can't get every game right, but we're getting a lot of them right. Hopefully we have another good week here. So good luck to everybody.
We are going to have the exact numbers next week. Peace out.